Okay. Hey guys, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Again, we're going to talk about board packages. These can be one of the most, I would say, intimidating parts of our job. There's a lot of stuff you need to put together. We're kind of acting as the organizational force behind this. I really think if you take some time at the beginning, if you really kind of dissect the package that you get from the listing agent or from the management company, and you really kind of review everything step by step, it's really not that hard of a process. And again, I can remember, and let me tell you, the first board package I did was for a co-op on Second Avenue. I remember I was here in the office until like 2 in the morning. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I'm not doing this right and stuff like that. It took me like 48 hours total to put it together over the course of a couple weeks. And, over time, you get more comfortable with it. So again, don't be intimidated by your first one. I know, a couple of you have done them before. I know, Anthony, you kind of just finished your first one and are getting ready to submit it. This is meant to help you guys kind of get better organized and to kind of, again, really systematically look at the package, break it down into its component parts. And in the end, these things are actually very easy to do. At this point, I can kind of do a board package in, 4 or 5 hours, I would say, as long as all the information's there. And again, that's why being organized is so incredibly important. And I think this system will hopefully help you guys get a little bit better organized. So for any board packages in the future, you kind of know the steps in order to do it and make it easier. So again, timing is probably one of the first things, right? When do I start in the board package? I always ask for a copy of the board package when I have an accepted offer, right? Because I want a little bit of time to review it, to kind of get organized before we start in earnest, right? So I always start reviewing it when the due diligence is being completed. I then set up a meeting, either in person or virtual, with the client to review it as soon as the contract is fully executed. I don't start earlier, right? And the reason for that is I don't want to give them the package right away because A, it's a little overwhelming for the client, and B, something could happen, right? Maybe they decide not to sign the contract and then you've had them start preparing things that they're not going to need, right? So it's really about saving your time. It's about saving their time. And again, most of the deals that we do have financing involved in them. And so the last piece of information that you need before you can submit it is usually going to be the mortgage commitment letter and the Aztec recognition agreements. And you can't usually submit if they're financing until you have those. And so, you have time from a contract being signed to getting those forms, right? It's usually about a month. And so you have a month to kind of put things together. And really, again, getting organized at the beginning is going to save you tons and tons of times down the road. So again, it's kind of 9 steps. The first is to review the packet and list the requirements. The second is to prepare dividers, and we'll go into what those look like. The third is the reference letter overview. The fourth is to create a Google Drive or Dropbox file so you can share information easily. The fifth is to review the financial documentation. 6 is prepare everything to get it signed. 7 is to sign and complete the package. 8 is to review the package with the seller's agent. And 9 is to, fully complete it and submit the package. So we're going to kind of dive into each of these little details. Again, at some points, I'm going to be kind of opening the screen, showing you a packet and things like that, and kind of go from there. And so, again, the first thing that you always want to do is to review the packet and create a list of the requirements, right? Again, you're going to ask the listing agent for a copy of the board package during the, once you have the accepted offer and during the due diligence process. And what I always do is confirm with the managing agent myself, right? Take this upon yourself to confirm with the managing agent that you have the correct packet, right? And I'll give you an example of when this didn't happen and it really messed me up. I've rented an apartment over on Broadway a couple times. I had a packet from the owner, and during the pandemic, the management company switched to using a website called Board Packager, which we'll talk about at the end. And so I basically had put together a full, paper packet, which then I had to redo and resubmit online, right? And so I wasted a bunch of time because of that. And that was my fault because I didn't confirm with management about the package. And so always confirm with the managing agent that you have the packet and that you have the right packet. These are often updated, maybe a company switches management firms, things can change. And what I like to do is sit down with the packet and get a sense of what I'm going to need, right? And then put together a list of required documents for my client. instead of just off the bat sending them the package, here's what you're going to need, right? Because they're going to get overwhelmed. And usually these packets are pretty big. Again, I'm going to do a little aside here. Let me close that up. Let me close out of this and just show you guys an example of a package. Again, I have an accepted offer for an apartment at 100 Bank Street. And again, now that we're kind of at an accepted offer, I asked for a copy of the package, and here is the package, right? And if you see here, it's a 31-page packet with a lot of requirements, a lot of documentation. Most of the time, there's going to be a cover page on these packages, right? And usually, it's going to say that the complete application will consist of the following documentations in the following order, right? And so, right here, we have 26 things that I'm going to need to put together, right? And that's going to seem like a lot. But if we go through this, a lot of these things are attached, right? Privacy release form complete by all applicants attached, right? So I don't really need to worry about putting a list together for those because I'm going to be filling those out with the client directly. So what I do want to do is I want to kind of go down here to things that maybe aren't attached that my client is going to need to provide, right? And so let's see. Here we go. So, and again, it's all of these are attached. So these are all part of this packet that I have until we get down to here, 13. Verification of all assets listed on financial statement. Please include copies of most recent statements for all bank, investment, and IRA accounts. Additionally, if applicants currently have a mortgage, liens on properties, or personal loans, please include most recent statement for these liabilities, listing payoff amount, monthly payments, and interest, right? Okay, so I know exactly what I'm going to need from him, right? I'm going to need verification of all assets on the financial statement, right? So I can put that down on my list that I'm going to send to my client. We're going to need verification of all assets that you have. And again, we'll go into a little more detail on that. A full copy of the 2 most recent 1040 federal and state income tax returns. Tax ID numbers on all pages blacked out, right? So I can put that down. I'm gonna need a full copy of your 2 most recent federal and state income tax returns. We're gonna need 1 reference letter from your landlord or managing agent. We're gonna need 1 employment reference letter, 3 reference letters, and again, bank loan commitment, bank appraisal, recognition agreement of financing, right? And these things will all come from the bank. Again, attached, right? So really, there's only a few things that my client is gonna have to prepare separately. Everything else that we're going to need to fill out and sign is included in this package, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a list of this. And again, bank statements for all assets and liabilities, 2 most recent tax returns, 1 reference letter from your current landlord, a reference letter from your job, 3 personal reference letters, and that's it, right? That's all I really have to ask them to put together. And again, I'm going to go back to the thing here. And again, it might sound like a lot, but instead of saying, oh, there's 26 things that you need, there's not, right? There's only, 1, which is going to be a couple of, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that my client is going to need to provide, right? So I'm going to list those 5 things out in an email. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them an email, right? And again, my fake buyers here are Juan and myself. Hi, Juan. I wanted to let you know what we need to put together for the packet. You'll need the following. And again, these are just examples, and just bullet point it, right? Last 2 years of federal tax returns, 2 pay statements, or 2 pay stubs, 3 personal reference letters, samples to follow, employment letter, verification of all assets and liabilities, full statements for the last 3 months. Again, that package that we just talked about, it's only 1 month. It's going to vary from place to place, right? And what I asked them for is please provide a list of all accounts so we can keep track, right? You're also going to need to put together a personal introduction letter, and we're going to put these into a Google Drive so we can have easy access, right? And so again, sending them a list is important because then they'll know exactly what they're going to need to compile, right? Okay, I'm going to need to talk to my attorney to get my tax returns. Okay, I'm going to get out of ADP, I'm going to get my last 2 pay stubs. 3 personal reference letters. And again, we're going to talk about the letter that I send about personal reference letters coming up in a second. And again, bank statements, right? Every single bank statement is going to be needed for every single account that they own and the full statement. But see how that's so much easier to provide to your client than saying, oh, here's the 26 things they're going to need. They'll be like, oh my God, where is all this stuff, right? Most of it's in the packet. We just have to type into it, have them sign a lot of these documents. So the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the dividers, right? And there's a set of sample dividers in the Google Drive. And what dividers are basically what they say, they're dividers. It helps you keep organized in terms of everything that you need to put together for this packet, right? I always print them out. I like to put them together and then print them out so that I can start kind of a physical copy of the board package and stuff like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you an example of dividers, which again, I just uploaded into the sale packet here. I think I did. Or did I not upload it? Let me upload it right now. Sample board package dividers. Oh, no, it's already in there. Okay, here we go. So here it is in the Google Drive, right? I'm gonna download it. I think that's actually easier. And again, as a reminder, all of you have access to a shared Google Drive. So if you go into your Gmail account, if you click here under Google Apps and then click on Drive, it will take you to your Drive homepage. If you go under Shared with Me, anyone who sent me your Gmail account, I've shared with you all of the Weichert files, right? So if you go under Shared with Me here and then click, there's going to be a file that's called Weichert Properties NYC files. If you click on here, again, it's going to have almost every document you can possibly need. If there's documents not in here, I can add them in. So again, work processing worksheets, sale worksheets, all of that stuff. So I'm going to open this sample divider, right? And here we go, right? So these are, a cover page plus, some introductory information, a place that you can put all the processing fees, and the application package, right? Let's go back down. And again, this is based on another board package, but again, it's going to be listed all of the requirements that are needed, and behind it, it's going to be dividers, right? So kind of like, when you were in school, if you had a book report and there were different sections, maybe you put a divider page in. We're going to do the same thing with this board package, right? And for every requirement that's on here, which again, we can get directly from, which we can get directly from that board package. And let me just open it up again so you can see it. Oh, no, it's right here. Right? So a completed application package will contain the following documentation, the following order, right? So privacy release form, right? So in the case of this board package that we're working on, again, my number one here, I'm going to take this out, and this is going to be privacy release form, right? And then when I go down here, I'm going to do the same thing, privacy release form. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the privacy release form and put it behind this page in the package, right? When I'm completing it. And again, in the end, a board package, I've got an example here. This is one board package. It's a bunch of paperwork, right? This is what it looks like. And in this case, right, I've got this cover page here. You probably can't see this. I apologize, but cover page, information on the buyer, a letter from the buyer, checks and things like that. This page with all the requirements. And I start on the requirements, right? And this one was purchase application. So behind this is the purchase application, right? And it's an easy way to keep yourself organized and making sure that you have everything put together. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to put together these dividers so we have everything. Again, I'm going to go down to the bottom, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. But again, it asks for 2 years of tax returns. This one asks for W-2s, so I'm going to put in, again, tax returns and W-2s, 2020. Behind this is going to go the tax returns, 2021 tax returns and W-2s. That's going to be behind there. And again, what I do is I'm going to put in every, every bank account that they have, and I'm going to make sure that this is all in here. So for each bank account and things like that, for all the financial statements I need, I'm going to be able to put a little divider page in with all that information. And that way I can keep track of which bank statements I have, making sure they're all updated and things like that. Again, that board package for 100 Bank Street that we talked about, that one had that you just needed one example of each asset in there. So the most recent statement, in the case of some other board packages, you need 2 or 3 months of statements, right? And this helps you keep, okay, do I have 3 statements for this Wells checking account? 1, 2, 3, boom, I'm done. I have everything together. Again, I'm going to go back to the presentation. Right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send a reference letter overview to my client. And the reason for that is that I want to make sure that these reference letters are done correctly. I can't tell you how many times before I started doing this, they would ask for reference letters and would get back something that I could not submit to a board, right? This email goes over exactly how the letters need to be addressed, and there's an exact form that it needs to be addressed and how they should be put together. I always give examples of past reference letters that are redacted, but let them know they can't copy it, right? Some people just verbatim copy it. We've had that happen multiple times as well. The letters should be heartfelt and have good examples of characteristics that they're mentioning about the client. And again, there are samples in the Google Drive that you can go to. You can attach to an email and send them to your client, right? And so what I do is I send an email, right at the beginning before we're really putting everything together to my client saying, here we go, right? Hello, Jason and Juan. So you'll each need, and you just put the number, 2 letters of reference, as well as, in this case, 1 bank reference letter. For the personal and professional letters, these should be from people who know you, you've known for a while and can vouch for your fitness. They should not be a relative. I've attached a few samples. Please note they should be on business or personal letterhead, address, phone, and email included, and start with the line. And again, this is for the fake board package that I'm talking about. Dear members of the board of whatever, right? And again, in each packet, it's going to tell you what this is, right? There's going to be a name for the co-op. Again, I'm gonna just switch back for a second and show you this 100 Bank one, right? So let's see. Usually you can tell by, it might say on the first page what it is. In this case, it's 100 Bank Street Owners Corp, right? I can tell by the checks. That's the name of the board, right? So in the case of this package, all of the letters are going to be need to address to dear members of the board of 100 Bank Street Owners Corp, right? Very simple. Let me go back to this. They can be addressed to, again, 100 Bank Street Owners Corp, care of the property management company. We can scan and upload them, but be sure they are not sent to the building or to anyone in the mail, right? They should not be mailing these to you. They should not be mailing them to the building. No, make sure you make this very clear. And I tell my clients, please cut and paste this bottom part so you can send this to your friends who are writing these reference letters and make sure they do it correctly. I have found it helpful for them to send me, and again, this is what I say, I ask for them to send me a draft and I can help edit it before they finalize and sign, right? Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, right? And you send this to your client, right? This is extremely important. This really helps you make sure the reference letters are done correctly so you don't have to redo them, right? And sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to bother friends, right? Their friends want them to buy an apartment, right? Especially people who live in the city. A lot of people have gone through this process. And again, that's a great thing they can put in their letter. Hey, as a co-op owner myself, I know how important neighbors are. As a co-op owner myself, I know that having quality people in the building is important. And again, it's a great way for them to help vouch for people, right? And so again, I'll send out these slides so you guys have them. This is verbatim what I send to all my clients. I just change around again, obviously their names, what the board name is, what the management company is, and what reference letters they need, right? Some require landlord reference letters, some require personal, some require business, some require bank reference letters. Again, in this case, I put in there what a bank reference letter is. Again, you just have to defer to the package for what they're asking for. And so again, the next thing that I do is I create a shared Google Drive folder, right? And again, if you want to use a different system, that's totally fine. I create it for my client so that they have a place and you can share that folder with them to upload everything they need. And again, I just want to go in here and show you how to do that in Google Drive, and this is gonna be one of your best resources, right? So if I'm in my Google Drive, and again, how do I get to Google Drive? If I'm logged into my email, I'm going to click on these 3 dots and click on Drive, right? That's going to go to my Google Drive. And again, all the shared documents, if I've shared them with you, are here. If you don't have them, send me an email saying, hey, can you please share with this Gmail account? You'll have access to all the New York City files. I'm going to go to New and click here. I'm going to do Folder, right? And I'm going to do 100 Bank Resale Application, right? And I'm going to create this. So now I have this, right? And again, you can see here was another one that I did, 229 West 97th, 55 East 9th Street, 3GH board package, right? And again, if I click on here, there's not gonna be anything in it, right? And so what I can do is I can click here on this little dot, I can go to share, and it's gonna put all my contacts. And again, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna share, this is the client, and I'm gonna send this, right? So now this person has access to this package, right? And when I send the email to them, I'm gonna say, hey, I just created a Google Drive folder. All of these documents that you're gonna need, you can upload here to the packet, right? And that way, you're not searching through emails for every statement, every whatever, right? For the tax returns, you have them all in one place. And I promise you, doing this is gonna save you hours and hours and hours of time, right? Because maybe, sometimes you'll just start getting, okay, here's our Chase accounts, here's our Wells Fargo account, here's my tuition bill for whatever, here's my pay stub. You'll have like a bajillion emails from them, right? And so having it all in one place makes it much, much simpler, right? And this way, when the package is done, you can upload it here so they know exactly what you've submitted as well, right? And so again, using Google Drive and doing this, I promise you is going to save you like hours of work. And anyone who's done a package, sometimes that's one of the most frustrating things. Hey, where's a copy of your ID? Oh, I sent it to you. And then you're like looking through all your email from what they've sent to you. So, okay, go back here. Okay, so the next step is to review the financial documentation, right? So this tends to take the longest, right? Reviewing the financial documentation. And the other thing is that we want to make sure that when we submit the package, we are up to date on the information that's in the package and on the financial statements, right? And so again, let's say we're working with someone who's very simple, right? They have a job, they get a W-2 tax returns on it. They have 2 bank accounts, 1 investment account, 1 retirement account, right? 2 bank accounts, 1 investment account, 1 retirement account. They have 4 statements. They have no debt, right? Let's say it's that. Right? So basically, there's 4 bank statements that you're going to need, right? You're going to need the 2 checking and savings accounts, the retirement account, and the investment account, right? So that's it, right? There's only going to be 4 statements you need. Every asset that's on the form has to exactly match the most recent statement that you're submitting, right? And again, things fluctuate all the time, right? If you have an investment account, it can be up and down, 10% in a day potentially. But what the package is most concerned with is the most recent full statement for that account. Many people, and again, everyone's different. Some are based on the day they open the account, and it's a 30 days after that. Some are based on the calendar month, right? So maybe they get it on the first of the month, they get the statement for the month before. And so really keeping into account what day you're on and when you're going to be sort of able to submit the package is important in all of this, right? Today is the 5th of October. And because it's the 5th of October, we're going to basically need everything to show up to the September statement, right? And so again, if they need the last 3 statements, we need September, we're going to need August, and we're going to need July. Again, if we get to, if we're about to submit at the end of October, maybe it's worth waiting a day and they have more money in their account. Maybe it's worth waiting a day for the November statements to put everything together and then submit that, right? And so again, everything that you put on the financial statement, and again, I'm just going to go back into that 100 bank package here just to show you what an example of this looks like. Some people use the revenue financial statement, some people use something else. Let's see what's in here. Here we go. So they're using the new revenue financial statement, which I don't love, but it's fine. So again, on this financial statement, right, they're going to put their income, their expenses, they're going to put cash and market funds, right? Schedule A, contract deposit, right? That's what they put down when they sign the contract, oftentimes 10%, stocks and bonds, investment or business, yada, 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 right? And so let me actually open this as a PDF. Oops. Let me see if I can open this with, oops, shoot, I apologize. So now I have it open in Adobe, right? I go down here, financial statement. and again, I'm going to start putting in numbers, right? So cash and money market fund, Schedule A, right? So if I scroll down a little bit, it has itemized schedule of assets and liabilities, right? So here you put if it's the applicant or co-applicant. So let's say it's just one person, financial institution, oops, Wells Fargo, type of account, checking, savings. And let's say they have, again, for this number, you're going to look exactly at the most recent statement. So right now we're going to look at the September statement, right? So say they have $125,322.10, right? So that's going to be the exact number. And again, we said this person had 2 statements. So we're going to do Chase Bank, right? Checking, account balance, $50,671.25, right? And we're going to get those numbers directly off the most recent statement, right? So then when I come back here, cash and money market funds, we're going to add those 2 numbers together. And again, my math is not very good. 125 2 plus 50,671.24. So it's going to be $175,993.24. Right? So exactly to the penny. Again, we'll put in whatever else they have. Contract deposit. Let's say this is $1 million purchase, and they put down 100,000. Stocks and bonds. Let's again 120. Let's make them have some money. And again, what we're going to do is put everything down here. Personal property and furniture. Usually, people put somewhere between 10 and 30,000. Again, if they have jewelry, if they have other things, you can kind of have a higher number. Life insurance, again, cash value. What that is it's called a cash surrender value. It's not what their policy is, right? They might have $1 million policy, but they can cancel it and get $20,000, right? And so that's the number they're looking for, not the $1 million. It's going to be the $20,000. Retirement funds, other assets, Schedule D. Again, they're asking you to put all these in. Under Schedule B, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. They say number of shares and description. Let's say they have a brokerage account with Merrill Lynch. You don't have to put every single share and stuff like that. I just put Merrill Lynch, marketable value. That's what it's worth now, non-marketable value, stuff like that, right? Other things, other assets. Let's say they have some, art collection worth $1 million. You can put that on here. And again, they're gonna sign this, right? And so the biggest thing in here is that these numbers have to exactly match the financial statement, right? And again, let's say it's October 25th and we're starting to put together the board package. I'm going to say, let's wait a minute. I'm not going to do this right now, right? Because you want to keep going back and forth. Once you have all the statements, if you're at October 25th, you might say, you know what, let's wait till you get your November statements, upload them, and then I'll put everything together, right? Because timing is important and based on when you're going to be able to, get everything in, you want to use those most recent statements for these numbers. Again, so you're not kind of coming and going. Okay, so Kirsten is asking, where do you put student loans, install accounts payable? Yes, so you can put under liabilities, you can put either notes payable to banks, right? That could be a student loan under liabilities, or you could put it under other debts itemized and you could put it there. Sometimes it has student loans on here directly and stuff like that. Again, on the financial statement, you'll add all this up, And again, that's why really waiting until the end to do this, I think, is beneficial, right? Asking for the statements and getting them together, but not spending, some people will be like, okay, I've got some of the September statements, let's just start putting these in, right? But it's better to wait. And again, I find if I do this all in one go with the most recent statements right before I'm submitting, it makes it much faster. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the presentation. Okay. Again, so a couple things with the financial documentation that can be missed. Number one, make sure the tax returns are signed, right? Oftentimes people will forward you, their tax returns, they're not signed, have them sign it. We've had board packages kicked back because people didn't listen to that. They had to redo and resubmit. Make sure the entire statements are given, even the blank pages, right? Some people are like, oh my God, my investment account, I've had so many trades, it's like 500 pages. That's fine, right? They want all 500 pages. If they don't, they'll tell you in the package, right? So even the ones that say, intentionally left blank or whatever, right? If on the, the bottom right of most statements say, 1 through 7, and if you only have 1 through 6, they're going to kick the package back to you, right? That's something that the management company is going to check. Again, I make a divider page with the last 4 digits of the account number, and I divide by asset type, right? So, the first ones are checking and savings, and again, Wells Fargo account ending 1234, and then I do the investment accounts, then retirement, and then anything else, right? And that just makes it easier because that's the way the revenue financial statements breaks it down, right? It's checking, savings, investment, retirement, other, and so I tend to keep them separate and kind of put them in that order. The other thing you can do is if you are working on a co-purchase, right? Let's say it's a husband and wife, a husband and husband, wife and wife, whatever it is, or a parent buying with their child. You might want to kind of put on the statement, applicant, co-applicant, joint account, whatever it is on that cover page, just so they can tell. And what I usually do is I highlight the most recent total on that bank statement with a highlighter, and I also highlight the last 4 digits of the number. Again, sometimes they're going to ask you to redact all the account numbers. You just cross it out and stuff like that. Again, just really look at the package because they're going to give you the best directions. Okay, so prepare the package for signatures, right? Again, the packets must be typed. You cannot handwrite these. The only thing that should be handwritten, and again, I say this because most management companies do not accept DocuSign, is they need to handwrite it, right? And so again, in the case of this 100 Bank board application that I'm working on, just open this up again. This is fillable, right? So I don't have to do anything. I can just fill this out. If it's not fillable, what you can do is you can basically go into comment, and that will allow you to kind of write on the pages and to add text and stuff like that, right? Again, it's not gonna let me do it there because there's already stuff in here, but again, you can type in here and again, change the color, obviously, and you can do that, right? Some of them are fillable, some of them are not. But again, you want it to be done in a way that if you need to go back and change it, you can, right? So don't use a typewriter, that's going to mess you up. Use some sort of software. Again, many of them these days are editable, like this one is. So I can type in everything in here very easily. Some of them are done through Board Packager, which we'll get to. Again, how to do that and stuff like that. Again, these things, shareholder signature and date, that can be handwritten, don't worry about that. But again, everything else in here really should be typed into, right? So if this is for me, I'm signing this and stuff like that. Check boxes, I got to put a check in, that can be handwritten, that's okay too. But all of these things, name, check, a lot of this stuff can be done by itself. So, oops. Okay, so again, you type in everything, you get it together, everything looks good. Oh, just one more thing. I just want to go back here and mention this, which is kind of coming up in this part too. But, let's say they don't have any investment in their own business, right? I usually just put a little dash mark, right? Because I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting everything. You can put in a 0. I don't like the way it looks with a lot of zeros, so I just put the little dash mark in. Or, again, let's say up here, see what else. Let me find a good example of this. But sometimes you're going to put in NA, right? So all these attorneys, have you declared bankruptcy? No. Any NA, whatever it is. Make sure you're filling out everything, right? You don't want anything left blank because a blank is basically a question mark to the board, right? Why didn't they fill this out, right? So anything they ask for, put yes or no. Again, let's say, if it says special conditions, if it says financing, right? Let's say they're not financing, right? You might just leave this blank. I would just put no financing, right? And that's it. Simple. Or NA if it's not applicable. Again, if it asks, let's say they have, let's see what else is in here. If there's anything else I can, these are all signature pages. But yeah, in some of them, it will be, list any cars they have. You just put NA, right? If they don't have a car. So don't leave anything blank. Okay, so again, the package should be signed right before you feel like you're done. You're going to submit it. Again, this is so you don't have to do a back and forth. Type everything out, have everything completed, have everything good, then have them sign it. Again, don't put any blanks in NAs. And again, if there are things that the package asks for and it doesn't apply to your client, don't just leave it blank. explain it, right? So if they ask for a reference letter from management and they live with their family, right? All you have to do is in a Word document, just type in, Joe lives with his family home and has been there since June of 2017, right? That's it. And then just put that in where it's, and you still have the divider that says management reference letter, and then you just put that behind it. Very, very simple, right? And so don't ever leave anything out. The only thing you can leave out from the package is, again, in these dividers, and I'll go back to this 100 bank one. Again, this is 1 through 26, and they're asking for 18, 19, and 20, right? Bank commitment letter, bank appraisal report, and recognition agreements of financing. And if they're not financing, you can just take those out and then go 17, and then house rules becomes 18, right? All these things. Super simple. The other thing I'll say is when you're doing the dividers, again, you don't have to copy and paste this whole thing. I would just put privacy release form, credit report release form, right? You don't have to put all this other stuff. Government issued photo ID, executed W-9 form. And again, you have to put from each prospective purchaser. You can take all that stuff out. So forwarding address form, contact information sheet, that kind of stuff. Okay, so the next step is mandatory, right? You have to do this. You need to review the packet with the seller's agent before you submit it, right? And 99% of the time, the contract is going to say, before you can submit the package, it has to be reviewed with the seller's agent. If it doesn't, the other attorney is not doing their job, right? Because you want to make sure that all the information is correct. And you want to make sure that they're happy with that you've provided everything, right? More eyes on the package is better. And again, you might be like, oh, my client is very secretive about their finances. No one's going to talk about this, right? Again, this is something that stays between the brokers. Again, if you need me to review the package, I can definitely do that. What I always say is meet with them in person or share the packet digitally, let them make comments, right? They'll say, okay, change this, change this, change this. I don't like this letter. Can we review it? And again, once the package is agreed upon, you can submit it to management. So again, finalize the package and make the requisite copies. Again, it's always going to tell you, and again, I'll go back to this package, how many copies you need and stuff like that. Okay, here we go. So down here it says all the required documents must be assembled into a complete package of one original and one copy and forwarded to them. Great. So that's great. So we just need 2 copies, right? Original, the other one. Upon completed verification of all financial aid references will be submitted to the board prior to closing, yada, yada, right? So again, it's going to tell you exactly how to do it. So you put together this package, you put it in an envelope, you submit it, right? Don't staple, don't bind. I usually use, and I've got some here, these like giant binder clips to put it together. Include a copy of your card and stuff like that with it. So if you have any questions, and again, you drop it off wherever they tell you to do it. So again, I always include a personal letter from the purchaser to help clarify anything that needs to be clarified to the board and introduce them. I put it behind the cover page. Again, I usually don't these days write my own cover letter. Some brokers do. Again, just defer to the listing agent for what they want. Again, anything that needs to be clarified, right? Let me look at, I have one here. I'll tell you what's going on with this one. In this case, the buyer was just introducing herself, telling her about herself a bit, why she loves New York City, where she works, and that she's been gifted the money from her family to purchase the apartment, right? And that's what she put in the letter, so that it's kind of clear from the get-go what the whole situation is, right? The letter is just very kind of simple and gives a little bit more clarity on the person. Again, think about it. The board hasn't met this person. It's kind of their way to introduce themselves before they potentially have an interview and things like that. Again, management usually takes a week or 2 to review, run any credit checks. They'll ask for additional documents or schedule a board interview, and hopefully you'll get approval after that. So these days, many people are using a website called Board Packager. Again, I'll show you what this looks like. This is Board Packager. Again, you can see all these different buildings. Let's go to, I'll go to, just pick a building. You can kind of search in here, and again, many are on here. I know that a condo that I do in Brooklyn is on here, right? And so what you can do in here is you basically will create an account. And again, you're going to be a standard login. And you log in, and it's going to allow you a space to basically, let me see if I can remember my login. I can show you. I just don't want to show you. Oh no, that didn't work. Let me try it one more time.
You're missing the N in NYC.
Oh, thank you. Good catch. Still no. Okay, I can't remember mine, but anyways, once you're in here, you'll be able to see the packages you're working on. And basically the system has, basically the cover page is actually, let me see if I can, let me try this one. Let me see if this is saved. No, it's not saved. Okay, let me try one more time. Okay, anyways, but basically it will have a system where you can basically directly upload all the files, right? And you can type into the package directly into Board Packager. If the company is using Board Packager, and again, they'll tell you, hey, the application's on boardpackager.com, it makes this the whole setup a little bit easier because, you know, instead of the Google Drive, which is the way I organize myself, they basically upload directly into the package. You know, you basically will create, you know, the package. You share it with whatever parties. So you share it with your buyers, you share it with the listing agent, you share it with the sellers. Everyone can complete their stuff in there. Everyone can complete their signing in there. Just makes it one step easier because everything is digitized, right? And again, it's a very kind of simple system to use once you use it the first time, right? It's a little bit annoying the first time, but after that it gets easier. So, and again, it makes it more reliant on the purchaser. They kind of upload everything directly there. Obviously, you check it, you make sure everything works. The numbers you're going to do very similarly to how you would do it if you had a paper package, but you can actually sign everything in there. Again, it makes it simple. So Tom is asking, does a purchase by an LLC alter the packet composition or requirements? Yes. So again, this 100 bank one that I was sharing, Tom, this 100 bank one that I was sharing is for a co-op. Let me go into here. Oops. Let me go into, if I show you the requirements for a condo, which might allow, if I scroll down here, usually they have a sample packet here somewhere. Okay, so if we go to, let's say a resale package, right? If I want to preview, so here are the requirements, right? Cover letter, purchase application, verification of assets, and probably at the bottom, right? It's going to have corporation's designation of occupant, LLC purchaser. If units being purchased by an LLC, please provide the following: copy of the LLC agreement, articles of incorporation, and operation agreement. So yes, it is gonna change everything, right? And so I don't know of any co-ops that allow LLC purchasing. But again, you'll always ask the managing agent for what they do need if they do allow it. And again, in the case of this building, I know they have everything in here, what you'll need. And again, you can ask the managing agent directly, hey, my purchaser is an LLC. How do you want this filled out, right? Because, you know, it might be a sole, you know, the LLC is owned by one person. They might want to run a credit check on that person because they're going to be living there, right? And again, whatever you need to do, whatever's going on is really going to be filled out and figured out by the managing agent. So always defer questions like that to them. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share. Any questions? I know we went over a lot, but hopefully this kind of helps you get a better sense of how I do it and how to kind of organize yourself to make it faster. You know, again, the biggest things are, you know, you sit down with the package, figure out what's in the packet and what's not, what you're going to need to get from your client, make a list of that, make sure they know how to fill out the reference letters and what they need, and really wait till the end to do the financial statement, right? You know, they know every bank account they have. You know, put together a list of them, right? Okay, I have way too many different banks, I've got a Wells Fargo, I've got a Chase account, I've got Marcus, I've got whatever. So I'm going to need all of those. And so knowing what those accounts are at the beginning is important. So Kirsten asked, after closing, do I send a thank you note to the buyer's friends who are the reference letters? I have never done that, but that's a really, really nice thing to do. That's really great. Maybe get some clients out of it. Obviously you have their address, you have their information. I actually really like that idea. That's great to kind of follow up with them and get that going. So yeah, no, that's really awesome. That's a great idea. I've never done that, but I'm going to start doing it now. So maybe you get some clients out of it too, right? So anyone else have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself. Tom's asking, do suburban co-ops work as those in the 5 boroughs? I have never done one outside of the 5 boroughs myself, so I don't know, but I believe most of them have some sort of resale package. But again, once you have an accepted offer, once you have if you have a listing, you can always ask the management company from the beginning what the resale package is, if there is one. Again, I know that there are some co-ops that don't require a package, or self-managed condos that don't have a package at all. You just have to provide them the contract, and that's it. Everyone's different, and so that's why, again, the management company, or if they're self-managed, over the building manager is going to be your best bet to figure out exactly what you need to get together. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. I'll be sending out this video later today. If you have any additional questions, or again, if you're working on a board package, again, don't worry if you didn't do these steps this time. Just kind of implement them going forward. And again, let's add thank you notes to everyone who wrote a reference letter. That's great, Kirsten, especially because we do have their email. So again, I would just, the one thing I would say is if they were approved and after closing, I would just tell your client, hey, I'm going to send a thank you note to them, and just make sure they're okay with it, just because maybe they're like, oh, I don't want them to know I bought it, but they wrote a letter, so they already knew the building. So, you would imagine, but I would just kind of just say, hey, I just want to say, I'm going to send a thank you note to X, Y, and Z. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of the day. Just a little plug, tomorrow we have our office meeting at 11. We've got some stuff to go over in the updated market report and stuff like that. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you later.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks.